So I want to cover the Qatari PM. I gotta say, hats off to him for saying the quiet part out loud. So the Israelis bombed Qatar today. They did airstrikes on the Hamas negotiators that were meeting, supposedly going to meet the Americans and Israeli negotiators, but they double crossed them. Instead of meeting them, they decided to do airstrikes on the Qatari capital, and they killed some of the Palestinian negotiators, but some of them got away. So, but the Qatari PM looks like he's ready to crash out. Let's listen in.
Under the directives of His Highness the Emir to address the situation that happened, the attack that took place on 3:46 p.m. and taking care of all those who died or were injured during this attack. We also took all the measures in order to contain the situation. In this regard, we present and express our sincere condolences to the martyr Saad al-Dusri, who died during his while he was carrying out his duties in this event. We also pray that all those who died or has been killed will be in the paradise. The state of Qatar is committed to act in a decisive way with anything that would target its territories, and will reserve the right to retaliate and will take all the needed measures to retaliate. And under the directives of His Highness the Emir, the security of the citizens and the residents is our top priority. And based on that, as of tomorrow, God willing, we will review all the policies and the directives in order to deter such actions and measures in the future, so that it cannot happen again. And this will be also the committee will be headed by State Minister Mohammed Al Khalifi, who will take all the needed measures in order to retaliate and to respond to this attack against this attack. The Israeli attack that took place today in the state of Qatar, we can only call it as state terrorism that is being exerted by someone like Netanyahu, given his attempts and his policies as he tries to threaten the regional security. This is only a clear message to the whole region, and this message says that there is one player, and there's also a disrespect to all the policies and also a violation to the sovereignty of all the countries and the states. Netanyahu said himself that he will reshape the Middle East. Does he mean that he's also going to reshape the Gulf region? I think that we have reached a decisive moment. There should be a retaliation from the whole region in the face of those barbaric actions that only reflects one thing. It reflects the barbarism of this person that is leading the region to, unfortunately, to a point where we cannot address any situation and we cannot repair anything and we cannot work within the frameworks of international laws. He just violates all those international laws.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Can't work with them no more because they violate all international laws. So what is he saying? That's a wrap. Now, whether he's willing to back it up, we'll see. But he's saying, listen, y'all violated us. You violated all international law. We can't work with the international law no more. That means no more going to the UN, none of that. We're going to get together and we're going to kick your ass. So let's listen to him continue.
Attack. The targeting was beyond and violating not only international laws but only all morals. We are talking about a mediator state that is hosting formal negotiations in a formal and official mediation and hosting with a delegation from a state that is sending missiles and rockets against another group of a delegation from another state that they are supposed to negotiate with. How can this be morally accepted? We can only call this as treatness and to be cheated on or to be treated in this way and coming from such a person is not surprising. However, this is a systematic behavior coming from a person that is claiming or alleging that they want to stabilize the region, but what he's doing is only destabilizing the region for his own and personal goals. During the last days, the negotiations were ongoing and it was on track upon the request of the American or the US side, as we were deciding or reviewing the final paper that was received from the US side. And despite this, and despite that Israel was sending their delegation, they worked on not keeping any possibility to reach any deal. Is there any clearer message that the world needs to understand who is closing and shutting the door of peace? Does the international community needs any other messages to know who's the bully in the region? The history will record this event, and the international laws should take such incident into consideration. Because working on violating the sovereignty of states without any respect and in a reckless manner, this is something that we should take into consideration, and we should take all the needed measures to counter such behavior. We have worked and open challenge with all the friendly and sisterly countries in order to take all the needed measures and to address this attack. And God willing, we will announce all the steps and measures that we will take in the upcoming days. Thank you.
So basically, they done had enough, right? Qatar has had enough, and they're talking about getting together with all of the countries in the region and getting rid of Israel. Basically, he said that, and he said, look, we can't take any more of this, right? No more aggression from the Israelis. This is state-sponsored terrorism. So we're going to get together and we're going to talk to the other states, and we're going to put a stop to this. Now, you say, well, why is this important? Well, Qatar is a client state of the United States. They have a base in Qatar. So if they're willing to jeopardize their relationship with the United States to go after Israel, it's game over. Right? It's game over for the Israelis, and it's going to be World War III. If they're willing to say, listen, we're getting together with Iran, we're getting together with Syria, we're getting together with Iraq, we're going to get together with Yemen, we're going to get together with Lebanon, we're getting together with the Palestinians, and we're going to wage war on Israel. Egypt, Jordan, everybody who's going to get down with us, he said, listen, we're going to go talk to them and let them know that it's time to get rid of the Israelis, period. And there is no international law. This is war. So basically, he made an announcement of war, from what I'm hearing, against the Israelis. Which you gotta salute that man for that. For having, the testicular fortitude to step up and call them what they are, state sponsors of terror. This is a Nazi, terrorist, racist organization that needs to be, routed out. And he said, basically they're working on coming together with them and getting that ball rolling. So you got to big up and salute this dude, for not taking that disrespect of them missile striking his country and saying, listen, there is no, at this point, you violated our sovereignty. There is no negotiating, right? This is an act of war. And we're going to talk to, we're going to get the coalition together, and then we're going to come for your neck. I got to salute him for that. Now, whether he does it or not, we have to wait and see. But if he does it, I mean, that'll be easy money. It won't be hard to convince. Iran obviously is already on board. Lebanon is on board. Palestine is on board. Yemen is on board. Syria probably won't take much convincing. The Iraqis won't take much convincing. So, because nobody likes them at this point. And so it won't take much for Qatar to say, I'm on board. Once they say yes, and they start going after them, the ball gonna roll quickly. Not to mention, what they've done is set a precedent at this point. And Scott Ritter brought that up on a podcast earlier today, where it's basically guns out and knives out. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could get tricky for everybody. Because if there is no negotiations nowhere on the planet that work, whether it's, nobody will trust negotiators now. Whether it's Israel, Russia, whatever, Venezuela, whatever. There is no rule of law now. And from this point on, it's going to deteriorate. So that said, you can probably expect people to start getting popped everywhere, if you know what I mean. Right? They basically saying, listen, there is no rule of law anymore. There's just war. And they not going to wage, the shit they done started, they're not going to, it's going to be asymmetrical. So it may not start straight out. It may start with them like, popping motherfuckers all over, anywhere they catch them. You know what I'm saying? Like the type of, embassies, they might start popping embassies. Anybody they catch out there, you just going to get popped. So, you know what I mean? Until the whole thing deteriorate into all out war. So, yeah, I would, moving forward, this whole thing going to get super ugly. So, you're going to have to be careful, like where you travel to. You know what I mean? They not, and I think that's how it's going to go. I mean, just like you saw, 6 Israelis got hit up on the bus stop. Right? Negotiators, different groups traveling, people traveling, they may pop them. You might see people at embassies getting popped. You might see embassies going up in smoke. Right? All type. So you know what I mean? You're going to see all kinds of wild shit going on now. Because like dude said, there's no rule of law. And people know how these people get down. You know how they get down. You know what I mean? They'll scream Alu Alu Akbar and run up in some shit real quick. Right? And the whole thing go, kaboom. That's generally how they get down anyway. And so with him greenlighting that shit and people understanding there is no more rule of law, we are moving into a very dangerous time. The problem with that is, we're at the point now, it doesn't matter where you at. It's not like he said, they moved from the Middle East to the Gulf. He said, so now this is all over. And that's kind of how it's going to go. It's probably you're going to see this probably spread across the map now. Once people realize there is no negotiations, there is no rule of law, right? And that goes for, you see what the U.S. did in Venezuela, right? Extrajudicial killings in Venezuela of people in boats, just blowing boats up anywhere, all this kind of shit. All this shit is going to just get out of control. Right now, they controlling it, right? Because they able to go do whatever they want. There hasn't been any blowback yet. What dude is saying is, get ready for the blowback. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going for this shit anymore. And like I said, what's important about that is this dude is a puppet of the United. If they lose the puppets in the Middle East, they done. If they lose Qatar, Jordan, and Egypt, this shit gonna fly out the handle so fucking fast it'll make your head spin. And it's going, and like I said, it's not gonna just stay there. It's gonna spin out from that area all over Europe, and then it's gonna spill out to the United States. Slowly but surely, it's gonna all spin out of control. And well, not even slowly. Matter of fact, I'm curious to see how fast this whole thing gets to popping. So, but anyway, that's all I got for now. Peace.